Welcome to a new video which I intend to talk about the integration of our mental body, emotional body, physical body, and then obviously also spiritual body, but mainly focusing on the impact of our thought patterns, of our beliefs, linked then our thoughts and beliefs lead to emotions and feelings, sensations in our bodies, and ultimately over time get stored in our body. And I'd love to have a separate container for that on my YouTube channel. That's my vision for now. And I feel like it's going to be called Feel Tank, just because, not out of contrast, but I think there has been a big shift over the last years, people noticing more and more how important it is to watch and witness their feelings and their emotions. And at the same time, if I think about the conversations I had maybe 9-10 years ago on how our current educational system is so much built around, for many, many years, hundreds of years around, so many people link it with Henry Ford in order to produce, in order to perform, as well as with Peter Drucker, obviously. So I don't want to go into those details. That's not why I'm doing this video. I'm doing it because I realized this week how it is right now, since the energies are so high and they are so amazing and wonderful opportunities for us to really be in the moment, and to witness the thoughts that are probably, likely, many of them very, very old, very learned, no matter where from, no matter from whom, no matter which story. But the importance of realizing, first of all, that you're not your thoughts. And yes, you're also not your emotions, but that you're not those thoughts, that you picked them up somewhere. You weren't born with those thoughts. And right now, as I said, in these current times, for me, it is a huge invitation for us to allow any kind of mental constructs, or yesterday I called it a mental house of cards, because I had a mental construct that I wasn't aware of and that I let go of yesterday, gradually over the last days and weeks, I guess. But I came to a maybe turning point, break point, and I'm the one defining that. So me just looking for those words right now. So let me use the term turning point, because it really feels like it. And that house of cards has the right to collapse now. It has no basis anymore. And whatever that might be for you, like obviously I can only talk about myself, but the reason why I do these videos is not just for myself, but obviously also for you to take from this what resonates with you, and also what you believe and feel into on how you can shape and reshape your reality, because you are ultimately the designer, the creator, or the master, whatever term you prefer, of your life and of your reality, and what you perceive, what perspectives you take. And they are obviously all shaped by beliefs, by patterns that we picked up. And realizing that yesterday, that house of cards is built upon a story a traumatic experience that happened many, many, many years ago when I was still at university. And I had built that construct in order to feel safe. So without going into the details, for me it's not really necessary to share all the details with you, and I don't want to get entangled. But the invitation to you is to check in and to notice the thoughts that lead to you not feeling safe in this particular example. Because we need and we have an innate fight or flight mode. That's how human brains, I guess, were wired many, many, many millions of years ago. And so that's in all our systems, and that's perfect. Because I wouldn't want to be eaten by a lion when I'm in Africa. I'm really glad that I'm going to run when I see a lion. So I'm not arguing with that, I guess, mechanism or system that we learned. But I don't need that system when I'm here in my place. Unless there is a fire alarm, unless there is someone breaking through the door, then yes, I also need that system. But right now, in this moment, looking in the camera of my computer, no noise around when I listen right now, in the middle of the day, I can feel safe. I can feel safe. And that is, for me, there are many other big beliefs, obviously, but one real key belief next to feeling worthy, for example. And for me, that safety that I can only ultimately give myself is now moving into space day by day where I realize that I had been allowing only certain kinds of emotions ever since that traumatic experience. And while it involved the whole spectrum, so being super happy, being excited, being in love, being totally in flow, and on the other hand, being totally in self-blame and in shame and in, I guess, depressive patterns. So that whole spectrum is there. However, I've been noticing that there was that particular pattern, story within me where I did not allow myself to be happy. And I'm talking about happy. I'm not talking about having a wonderful evening with friends and laughing all through it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the innate sense of peace, of happiness, of harmony. Maybe harmony is a better word than happiness. Maybe it's a combination. I will feel into that. And so what I would like to invite you to check in with yourself, because ultimately many, many, many of us have stories around not being safe for whatever reason, not feeling worthy and not feeling good enough. And they are not your truth. Like I said in the beginning, they are learned. They are really learned. And they are not you. And you are this magical being that maybe believes that it doesn't have the right to be happy, or that hasn't done enough to be worthy, hasn't done enough to be happy, to take the afternoon off or the evening off. And so we are being, through societal, through family, through whatever really, stories, guidelines that we've learned, pushing ourselves for so many years. And we've come to a point now where I realize this stops with me. I can feel safe in my body right now. That's an old story that I'm talking to myself about. That's an old thing that I'm blaming and shaming myself about. I cannot undo the past. Yes, I can envision different timelines if that's something that calls to you. But other than that, you're right here, right now, in this moment, shaping your reality and your future to come. And play with that. That's my invitation to you, to play with that and to see, as I said, what resonates with you, what came up maybe while I was talking, and to dive into that, to reflect on that when you have some peace and quiet time, and to see whether that is really true and how that feels in your body, and your body will immediately tell you whether that is true or not. And so I have a feeling my guides want to come through and finish off with a message for all of us that we can integrate and remember even deeper, that we are always aligned, always. Our truth is always around the corner, even if our mind tells us otherwise. Our happiness, our harmony, our safety is just one thought away. So with that, let me connect with my guides. I don't really know who will come through. I always say my guides, I'm discovering. So I don't know who will come through. It doesn't really matter. I know it's divinely guided and divinely orchestrated, and connection with my higher self. So just give me a moment and you will see my head tilt to the left if you haven't witnessed me before when I go into channel mode. That's often. And my voice and the cadence change a little. So let me take a couple of minutes or seconds, depends, and get a message and a download from them to finish this off with. Thank you for being here. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, our dear ones. And while Yancha is inviting us and somewhat eager for us to provide you with a message, which we will do in a moment. But what is as crucial as everything that she just said there is one component from our point of view that we would like to emphasize, and that is you allowing your truth to shine, you allowing your power you allowing your light to shine brightly. Because yes, you can witness your thoughts and change your thought patterns and feel better and happier and more in harmony and more at peace due to that. And that is truly wonderful. That is truly wonderful, and that is very correctly said what this current time is about. And it is also about you opening up even more to allow, to allow, to allow. And why do you use the word allow? Well, a lot of you use the term free will or choice, and that is very unique on this planet. All you beautiful humans have free will and make hundreds, thousands of choices per day. When you brush your teeth, what you're going to eat, when you're going to call someone, etc., etc. Thousands per day. Thousands. And that's all perfect. But you have, like Yanti said at the beginning, let's call it for illustration's sake, mental power, emotional power, physical power, spiritual and soul power, and access to the universal power due to that and linked with your spirit and your soul. The all-encompassing, the oneness as some call it. Or quite a few actually. And so you allowing yourself to focus your thoughts, your visions, your imagination skills on your dreams, your desires, a brighter future for humanity. That is part of it too. That is part of it too. And how do you do that? By allowing. And how can you make that allowing not as a task or something that you want to do or that you think about that you have to do? No, it's innate. That allowing is innate. When you are in that feeling and state of peace, of harmony, of light, of love, because with all that comes the trust. The trust that your magnificent soul. Your magnificent soul is truly orchestrating everything well out ahead of you, knowing that you will make individual choices every single day. So just imagine how beautifully busy your soul is, at least from a mental perspective, but there are a lot of aspects that your mind cannot understand. But just for illustration's sake now, so your soul has prepared for all these choices that you might make. Take a left turn here, take a right turn there. Oh, she went straight ahead, she didn't take the right turn. And Yansha realized that and was reminded of that as well again this week. Noticing when looking back. So as some of you say, it's easy to connect the dots backward. Having epiphanies after epiphany. Noticing that everything is working out perfectly, even if our mind might have thought otherwise. But no, it's all perfect. And that sense of peace and that everything is perfect comes along with that sense of trust, self-trust, self-love, self-respect, self-compassion for the choices that you made in the past, which in hindsight might not seem that perfect or that great. In the end, the not yet perfect, not yet great, what is that? That is a judgment. Yet that is you defining what's good and what's bad, what's positive, what's negative. And those are labels of the 3D environment, the environment of separation. And you've moved past that. You've moved past that. And so the itches, the pulls, the pushes that you feel, where you just know and feel that some things or many things do not work anymore like they did in the past. And that is what this current time is about. And that is why Yansha started to record this particular video. And there are many aspects to this, many layers to this. And yet this is from our point of view. Perfect for now. And we'd like to close off by reminding you how whole you already are, how complete you are ever since you were born. You are always whole, you're always worthy, you're always complete, you always belonged, and you are always, always way more than good enough. You're perfect the way you are. And with that, we are complete for today.